Hey sis, one name that makes me say it slowly, with a smile, and a sense of overwhelming pride is Diane Abbott. She was born on the 27th of September 1953 in London, UK. A Virgo woman on a mission to reshape the face of British politics. At the time of me writing this, she has spent almost close to 40 years on this mission. For my growing encyclopedia of Black women, it would not be complete without her portrait included. Recently, I mentioned her in my essay, Black, Woman and British, and if you are listening to this on YouTube, it will be linked in the description, or it may pop up in the right-hand side of the video as I'm speaking now, or if you're catching this on Substack, it will be linked in the written version of this article. After reading her autobiography, which was released in March 2025, titled A Woman Like Me, which to my delight and surprise, the audio version was narrated by her, Diane, her career, and contribution to the Black British part of the Black diaspora, I've fallen more in love with since reading her work. There's something special about her approach to being Black, woman, and British. Diane has served as a British politician and Member of Parliament, we call them MPs in the UK, representing an area with a high concentration of Black, Asian and other minority groups in London. She oversees the Hackney North and Stoke Newington district as an MP since 1987. As a self-identified feminist, she also has pushed for women and minority issues to become more central within the left-leaning political party she is part of, known as the Labour Party in the UK. From looking at the party's history, while it is a left-leaning party, its roots and reputation were established from a poor, working-class, middle-aged white man's perspective or experiences in the UK. Much of the party's politics came from this angle until Diane stepped in the early 80s. Born to immigrant parents from the Caribbean and a first-generation Black British like myself, there's a lot to relate to with her background. After reading her autobiography, as mentioned, A Woman Like Me, which I will do a full review on separately, there's so much to praise this lady for. Because of this, it's impossible to totally sum up Diane's life and political impact, as she has had so many firsts achieved, meaning the first Black woman to do X, Y, and Z, all while being made a single mother by a man who seemed to show common traits us Black women find in men who see their women as competition, not partners. In her professional life, there's been a lot of controversy, misogynoir experiences, and of course, white people feeling the threat of a well put together, articulate, educated Black woman who was in the late 80s gaining a lot of popularity, not only among the general public, but also within the traditionally white, poor, and male working class political party, the Labour Party itself. With all this wonderful and rich life experience Diane shared in her autobiography and my previous knowledge of her before reading it, it's hard to pinpoint what are the top things to celebrate about this Black British female politician, because it's all relevant and it's all really wonderful. So for this entry into the Encyclopedia of Black Women, 5 standout moments for Diane really caught my eye. Before I highlight these for you, her early roots, political affiliation, and becoming the educated Black woman. So Diane, according to her autobiography, was born into a working class family with her father and mother both married. However, her father was a very controlling and abusive man, so her mother ended up leaving. Diane and her brother were very impacted by this, but regardless, Diane pursued her educational goals. She went on to one of the UK's most prestigious academic institutions that normally reserve their student places for the typically white, wealthy, upper class students. Being Black, working class, female, and the daughter of Caribbean immigrants, of course, this did go against her. Her teachers, according to her, tried to discourage her, I'll put this in quotation marks here, humble her ambitions. Now, to me, this sounds just like what the Black Manosphere's aim is for Black women too. So the 5 iconic achievements of Diane Abbott, which we need to remember and celebrate. Firstly, she was the first Black woman elected to the UK Parliament in 1987. So in 1987, Diane Abbott made a historic move, not only for the country, Party, but for the politically left-leaning party Labour, which had been traditionally white, working class and male since its beginnings. Diane became the first black woman ever elected to the UK House of Commons. I was only 4 years old at the time, so the UK in the 80s is a memory I can't recall easily. But what I will say, from speaking to my parents who were immigrants from the Caribbean, just as Diane's parents are, it was very hostile towards anything black and of course also female. The UK has its own dark history on the treatment of black women, even after inviting them to the country from the Caribbean islands that the British colonised as part of the Windrush era. This was just 3 decades before Diane came to the Labour Party. This was to help fill the labour market gaps in the UK. This election sent a profound message that British politics could and should be more inclusive and reflective of its diverse communities. Diane's aim from reading her autobiography was to do just that, to speak up for the marginalised members of British society. The second major standout moment for Diane in her career is the incentives for racial equality in education. Long before conversations were mainstream in the UK about the achievement of black children or the lack of achievement in a system that seemed to exclude their needs, Diane founded the London Schools and the Black Child, an initiative aimed at closing the educational attainment gap experienced by African and Caribbean children in London. As an ex-high school teacher, or secondary school teacher if you're in Europe, myself, who spent over a decade in this profession, this warms my heart to learn about. The challenges for black children in the UK are very real when it comes to education. I was often faced with the racism, low expectations, and disregard for black children's learning and future on a regular basis when dealing with my white co-workers. Diane's efforts spotlighted structural and systemic disparities for black children, especially from a Caribbean background. She pushed for transformative change in education. Diane said about the initiative, London Schools and the Black Child is an initiative I started during the 90s as a way to try and tackle the problem of educational underattainment among London's black students. And this is a direct quote from Diane's official Labour Party profile, which you can find online. If you are catching this on Substack, the link will be directly there for you. If you are listening to this on YouTube, I will put the link in the description box. So the third major standout point in Diane's career politically is being a champion of civil liberties and human rights. In 2008, Diane delivered a powerful Commons speech. For listeners who might not be familiar with this term, Commons means to directly address other members or MPs and the government. This is a terminology that we use in the UK. Her speech was opposing the proposal to detain terror suspects for 42 days without charge, a policy that threatened basic civil liberties. Her speech was honoured with both the Speech of the Year award by The Spectator and a Human Rights Award from Justice, Liberty and the Law Society. Reading this section in her autobiography showed me just how courageous she is as a woman and dynamic as a politician. Diane truly believes in the civil liberties for everyone, and especially those who are marginalised in society. Notably, in sections of her autobiography, A Woman Like Me, which was released in March 2025, she refers to interactions she had in her earlier years with African American champions of civil liberties and rights, such as the iconic Dr. Angela White Davis, who I also included in the Encyclopedia for Black Women earlier this year. If you are listening to this on YouTube, I will link that in the description box. If you are catching this on Substack, it will be linked in the actual written essay itself. So the fourth area of Diane's political career, which was really an achievement and standout for me, is the Mother of the House award that she got for being the longest serving female MP. In 2024, more recently, Diane was bestowed with the prestigious title Mother of the House, honouring her as the longest continuously serving female MP in the whole of British politics. This is a big achievement for a woman to withstand such hostile treatment in a male-dominated space, but for a black woman, it's absolutely outstanding. She outshined, outperformed, and no doubt showed her longevity while facing the double jeopardy of being black and female that Frances M. Bill, an American black feminist writer, spoke about in her 1969 paper entitled Double Jeopardy to be Black and Female. Diane's presence in the Houses of Parliament in central London spans decades, something every woman around the black diaspora can be proud of, notably those who identify as black, British, and woman, such as myself. The fifth and final standout moment in Diane Abbott's career is the persistent, consistent, and lovable role model and source of inspiration that she is. Let's forget for a moment how decorated Diane is. Looking beyond her well-deserved awards and titles, Diane's broader legacy is invaluable. It's who she is, what she stands for, and what she represents, black and female in a position of power. She has consistently represented, very well I might add, black women, their challenges, their needs, their rights, and their inclusion in society as a steadfast advocate for us as a member of society. No matter what part of the black diaspora you're from, if you identify as black and female, she's had your back consistently for decades, coming on nearly close to 40 years, as she's still active in Parliament in the UK as of right now, at the time of me writing this and recording this. She has persistently, consistently, and very clearly opposed on our behalf systemic racism, policing injustices, and inequality across generations. Her very presence in a predominantly white male establishment has inspired countless young black women across the UK, myself included, and she can do the same for black women around the diaspora to pursue public leadership, activism, and political engagement. Diane also focused in on black women when she set up Black Women Mean Business in the early 90s. So according to her website, the aim of Black Women Mean Business is, as ever, Black Women Mean Business remains a not-for-profit group with a single agenda: to support, encourage and celebrate black women in business as well as black entrepreneurship in general. So that's a direct quotation from Diane's official Labour Party website profile, which you can find online, directly linked in the description box if you're on YouTube, or if you're catching this on Substack, it will be linked in the written version. In addition to this, Diane has also said, "I set up Black Women Mean Business in 1992 with the aim of supporting, encouraging and celebrating black businesswomen in the UK. It was the first organisation of its kind at the time, and I am very proud that it is still continuing strong today." So that's another direct quote from her website. Overall, I highly recommend giving A Woman Like Me, which was released in March 2025, Diane's actual autobiography a read, and to support her various charities and not-for-profit organisations. She has earned a well-deserved place in Notes on Black Women, and in particular in the Encyclopedia of Notes on Black Women, and will forever be a black British female icon to me and hopefully to all black British women, no matter how many times or how much the British media tried to tear her down. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening in if you've made it this far. If you are catching this on YouTube, then please do give the video a like or subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Much love, the Black Woman Essayist.